starts a YouTube account, doesn't post a YouTube video for 2 months. Here's the comeback. Can it be called a comeback if you never really started? Oh well, we're doing it.
Everybody! Come on! Yes! Together! United as one! Come on! And everybody scream!
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kelly and I am an age group triathlete. I suppose that's how I would identify. But mostly, I'm just an average girl trying to do some pretty above average things. And 3 weeks ago, I completed, wait for it, Ironman Wales. Look at that incredible medal. So yeah, this video is going to be a little bit of a race recap. It's taken me a few weeks because honestly, it took me a few weeks to just process the entire day and get to grips with kind of the event in general and like how my day went. So sorry it's taken so long, but better late than never, right? Anyway, let's talk about Wales. Woo, wow, such an amazing day. Ironman Wales is one of the hardest Ironman races in Europe, possibly even the world. And this is mostly due to the elevation on both the bike course and the run course. On the bike course, you've got about 2,500 metres of elevation, and on the run course, you've got 500 metres. Anyway, let's talk about the actual event. I got to Tenby on the Friday evening, which I highly recommend doing, and I stayed in, which meant on the Saturday, I had to sort out my registration, set up my transition zones, and just have a nice little relaxing day. I managed to find my coach, and he helped me sort of get all my stuff ready, put me at ease, and in general it was quite a nice day. It was very overstimulating. Tenby can get really, really busy, so I'd recommend doing your registration and transitions as early as possible or as late as possible and missing that sort of peak busy period during the day on the Saturday. I went home and I had a massive bowl of pasta and then got to sleep quite early actually, probably around 8:30 was when I fell asleep, which was good. I woke up at about 4 a.m, had my coffee, got all my hair sorted, and then headed down to Tenby. And yeah, I would say I got there a little bit too late. I think I got there for about 6:30 in the end, which was an hour before race start, but because of how busy Tenby was, it wasn't enough time. Getting to transition was absolutely fine, sorting all my stuff out, putting my nutrition on my bike, fine. But then walking from transition down to the beach was unlike anything I have ever seen. At this point, I did meet up with someone from BBC Sport Wales, which was absolutely amazing, and I got to do a little bit on camera for them. It's on their Instagram if you want to go and check it out. But you can sort of see in the video how overwhelmed I am because you're crammed into this little like walking pen, walking down to the beach, and there's crowds like 3 deep either side. Oh my gosh, it was just absolutely insane. And then you get down to the beach, you sort yourself in your little pens, and then just wait. When I saw the water in the morning, it looked okay. And I think from when I saw it until the start of the race, something just changed because the choppiness and the current of that sea was crazy. For someone who only learned to swim about 1.5 years ago, I cannot believe that I made it through that. Those of you that don't know, an Ironman swim is 2.4 miles long or around 3,800 metres. Ironman Wales in particular has an Aussie exit, so you enter the water, swim out to a buoy, over to another buoy, and then back in, and then you run out onto the beach, run around the rock, and then you go back in and you do it for a second time. My first 100 metres, I was just in panic mode, which is really frustrating because I thought I'd gotten over that feeling in open water, but I think just because of how choppy it was, I just went into a bit of a panic and I was breaststroking a lot of it, and I'd say only about halfway out to the turning buoy did I finally settle and sort of get into a rhythm. But it was also so hard to get into a rhythm because of the waves, and there were times where I was trying to sight and I couldn't see the buoy because the waves were so high. People were really brutal as well. I was doing a lot of kind of sculling and then trying to find a path because people were just swimming over each other and swimming into you and not stopping, not being very courteous. And I've got to say, that was probably one of the hardest and least enjoyable Ironman race swims I've had. Sorry, loved the race, hated the swim. I actually remember thinking on my first lap, when I was heading back down to the beach, I remember thinking, they're going to say go up to transition. They're going to say the swim's cut short, 1 lap only, go up to transition. And when I came out, there's pictures of me and I'm looking around because I'm looking for someone to say something like that, and no one did. And I just got straight back in. I just went in and I looked at my time and I'd done 45 minutes for the first lap, which I was like, okay, not good, but considering, not bad. And I thought I would be happy with an hour and a half swim. So I jumped back in and I was in the zone now. I didn't do any breaststroke and I went for it. And then I came out of that lap in 50 minutes. So it got worse. And it's really interesting when you look at my data on my graph, you can see how low my pace dropped and how high my heart rate got. That second lap must have gotten so much worse with the current, and there were times where I would be looking up and the buoy just wasn't any closer. So yeah, it was scary. I think there was about 150 DNFs on the swim, which is very high. Although I was really disappointed in my time, I'm proud that I got through. Now let's talk about the bike course. So this is the bike course that did actually make me cry about 2 weeks before the race. The Ironman Wales bike course is absolutely mega. As I said earlier, it's about 2,500 metres of elevation. You do one big loop out to the coast, Freshwater East, and then you come back in and then there's a small loop that you do twice, which goes up to Narberth and then back down to the coast. The first loop isn't that bad. There were a few notable climbs, but nothing that was too gut-wrenching. And in general, I did actually enjoy that first loop. My average was really good. I was hitting all my nutrition and just having a good time, to be honest. And then comes the hard bit. The hard bit being that second loop. And everyone says the first loop is easier than the second loop, and they are absolutely right, because that second loop has some spicy climbs. The first notable one being the climb up into Narberth. That also has quite a sketchy descent beforehand that is very fast and can get really windy. And then you climb up into Narberth, turn right, and then it's sort of easy back down to the coast. And then there's this section when you get down into Saundersfoot and you start making your way back to Tenby that is just absolutely relentless. In my opinion, it's the hardest part of the course. And you do it twice. And the second time you do it is right at the end. So once you've already cooked your legs over 100 miles, your last 15 or so is this really tricky section where you've got a lot of technical descents and a few very steep climbs. Wiseman's Bridge, I've never wanted to cry and get off the bike as much as I did on that second climb of Wiseman's Bridge. To make it worse, on the bike, the last 20 miles for me, the heavens opened. It started absolutely lashing it down. I was wearing my laser helmet with a visor and it all fogged up. And for those climbs back up into Tenby and the descents, I could not see. So I did slow down quite considerably on the last 20 miles. Despite this, I did get a 7-hour bike split, which is what I was aiming for. I think I could have got it quicker if I wasn't so shaken up after the swim and if it hadn't started raining. I think I could have got that bike split a little bit quicker. So I'm very happy, especially seeing as I got my TT bike 4 weeks before the race. I wasn't 100% comfortable on it. Yeah, couldn't have asked for a better bike split. Well, I could if it hadn't have rained, but stuff happens. And now onto the run. I think the run is where I really overestimated myself. I've obviously had a really tough year with injuries. Around this time last year, I had a strained groin, and then I also sprained my ankle. And then earlier on this year, I had my knee injury, which was just ongoing for months. So my run volume hasn't been all that much. I was really hoping to get a 4-hour marathon. Sat down with my coach before the race and we kind of said, 4:15 is more likely. In the end, I ended up with 4:30, somewhere around there. I can't remember. I'll put the actual time on the screen. Which, for the hills, I'm not mad about. I'm really not. Coming off the bike into transition, I didn't think I was going to start running. As soon as I came out of transition, I saw my mum and my other half and my friend, and I just started crying. I'm crying now thinking about it. I was so cold. After that rain in the last however many miles of the bike, and then leading on to the run, I was just absolutely freezing. And I went and I hugged my mum and I was like, I'm so cold. And then she was like, you're doing amazing. And she pushed me away like my mum does. And I just started running, and yeah, it was really hard. And obviously it was still raining for the majority of my run. I'd say for about 35 kilometres, it was just absolutely pouring it down with rain. I do have a confession. I did pee myself on the run quite a few times. In all fairness, I did try and find a Portaloo. Every Portaloo I ran past had someone in it. So then at one point I stopped at an aid station and I grabbed whatever I could, and then I stood by the bin at the aid station and I chucked my cup in and I stood there and I was like, just pee. Just do it. It's raining anyway. No one's going to notice. So I did. And you know what? It wasn't that bad. A low point in my life, I would say. But once you do it once, you just keep going. No stopping you. So I got through like 3 laps of the run, and the support in Tembe, despite the rain, was absolutely incredible. And I loved the amount of small children and like the little girls there when I'd run past were all like, girl power. And it was just absolutely incredible. There were loads of house parties going on, like people literally drinking and playing loud music and having house parties on the run course. And I was just a bit jealous. I just wanted to go and join in. I didn't want to be running past them. So anyway, I got through 3 laps and it was dark by the last lap, which I've never ran a race in the dark before. And that was really hard mentally. The rain had stopped by now, so I was just cold, covered in my own urine, and it was dark and I was so tired and so in pain. And on the run, I never really found anyone that I could pace myself with and sort of run alongside and get to know a little bit. So by the last lap of the run, I was just like, I need a friend. And I saw this guy that was walking and I just started walking alongside him. He was very much in the pain cave and I was like, come on, let's get each other through this. So we started sort of walking cone to cone. I would be like, right, we're going to run to that cone and then we're going to stop. We're going to run to the aid station, then we'll stop. And it really helped me get through, having someone to sort of chat to. His name was Ben. If you watch this, Ben, hi, hope you're doing well. Sadly, Ben was only on his 2nd lap, so I did leave him for the finish line. I'm getting emotional thinking about the finish line. Best finish line experience ever. It's just such an amazing feeling knowing that all those months, potentially years of hard work are all paying off in this like one moment. And to see everyone at the finish line and know that they're waiting for someone who has also been through something like that, it's just really emotional. And yeah, I was absolutely ecstatic running through that finish line and seeing my coach at the end of it as well, and seeing my other half and my mum and my friends. I can't tell you how much that meant to me. I think I stayed in the finishers tent for about 15 minutes, sort of chatting to people at first, and then it doesn't take long after an Ironman for the sort of pain to settle in. And this is what I looked like in the finishers tent. I ate a couple of slices of pizza, which hit really hard, and then I trotted along, stumbled along to the car park in the school, and went home, back to my caravan. I had half a glass of Prosecco, and then I passed out. I ended with a time of 13:36, I believe, somewhere around there, which is a 55-minute improvement on my Bolton time, which I think is pretty good. And I think if the conditions had been a bit better, if the swim had been nicer, and if it hadn't started raining on the bike, and if I hadn't have lost the mental battle on the run, I do think I could have got a sub 13. So again, I am slightly disappointed with my time, but it's sort of just put a bit of fire in me to work towards the next one. And I know it's a massive, massive improvement, and I'm so proud of myself. Whoa, I'm just a bit hard on myself sometimes. Woo! Okay, stop crying. If you are wanting to do Ironman Wales next year, I absolutely recommend it. Even though it was one of the hardest days of my life, and racing in the UK is so unpredictable in terms of what you're going to get with weather, it's a bucket list race. It was raining for like the entire marathon, and the streets were lined with people. I can't even imagine what the support would have been like if that had been a sunny day. So I think that's it. That is my Ironman Wales race recap? Review. Ironman Wales race review. I've said it a few times, but one of the hardest days ever, but it was also one of my favourite days ever. And although I'm not looking at going back to Denby anytime soon for that race, it is something that I would definitely consider doing again in the future. But for now, on to the next one, which is going to be Ironman 70.3 Marbella in a week and a half? No, 2 weeks. I've got 2 weeks. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I promise I'm going to try and do some more of these videos. One last look at the amazing medal. See you soon.